Hello children, I hope you are all happy and safe. Welcome to this special English hour. Here, every day, we will learn something new in a fun and exciting way. Are you ready to have fun? Okay then, let's begin today's day with a tongue twister. Please come closer to the TV and listen to me carefully. Do you know what's a tongue twister? I will say a sentence once. Please try to repeat it after me. Then you will know why it's called a tongue twister. Here is the sentence. 4 furious friends fought for the phone. Can you try saying it with me? Let's say it 3 times first. 4 furious friends fought for the phone. 4 furious friends fought for the phone. Fought for the phone. Now do you understand why it's called a tongue twister? Okay, I'm sure some of you may have been able to say it with me, while some of you may not have been able to say it so fast. It's alright, it took me years to say it at such a fast speed. But wasn't it fun? Okay, you can also say this tongue twister with your friends. Children, I hope you all enjoyed the tongue twister we just did. Now, I would like to ask you a few questions. Let us share our thoughts and ideas. Children, do you like going on trips? I am sure a lot of you like going on trips. I also like going on trips. I like meeting new people and exploring new places. Children, have you ever had an adventure that you remember? An adventure is a new experience. It may have a pleasant or an unpleasant memory. I'm sure when we go out on trips, there are many adventures that we have. On one such trip that I set out on, my car broke down. I had to walk for miles to get someone to repair my car. And it was after almost half the day had passed that I could continue my journey. So children, when we have an adventure, there is also a possibility that we may be stuck in a difficult situation. What do we do then? Whenever we are stuck in a difficult situation, it's very important that we stay calm, we act with patience, we are alert, and we try to resolve our challenges or our problems as soon as possible. So children, do you like listening to adventure stories? Then come, let me share one with you today. Children, today we are going to read a very interesting lesson on the adventures of Gulliver's Travels. But before we start reading, I would like to share with you a few new words. While learning a language, it's very important that we keep learning new words. The words that I will share with you now, I request you all to please listen to them carefully and note them down in your notebook. While reading the passage, please look out for these words and try to guess their meaning. The first word is writer, writer, writer. The second word is voyages, voyages, voyages. The third word is adventures. 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 The fourth word is marooned. 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 The fifth word is surgeon. 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 So children, the new words that we'll be learning today are writer, adventures, voyages, marooned, and surgeon. Children, please look out for these words while we are reading the passage. So children, now that we have spoken so much about traveling and adventures, let's hear about Gulliver's adventures as well. We will be reading the lesson, The Adventures of Gulliver. If you have a textbook, please open to page number 29 and point to the words as I read. If you don't have a textbook, please look at your TV screens and listen to me carefully. Children, the set of new words that I just gave you will also come in this passage. Please look out for them and try to guess their meaning. The Adventures of Gulliver. Gulliver's Travels is an interesting book written by a well-known English writer, Jonathan Swift, in which he describes the voyages of Gulliver to various lands like Lilliput and Brobdingnag. Though the character of Gulliver and these strange sounding lands are imaginary, Gulliver's experiences and adventures are written so well that they seem real and true to life. Gulliver, the story tells us, worked as a surgeon on ships. As such, he made several voyages. In May 1699, he sailed on the ship the Antelope. On the return journey in November, a violent storm sank his ship and Gulliver swam to save his life. Late in the evening, he found himself marooned on a strange land. Weak and exhausted, he slept for about 9 hours. It was daylight when he awoke. Let us read what happened next in his own words. In today's story, we will learn about Gulliver's adventure on one such voyage. In the year 1699, in the month of May, Gulliver had been on a voyage on a ship named the Antelope. On its return, the ship met with a violent storm and the whole ship sank. Gulliver had to swim all night to save his life. The next morning, Gulliver found himself exhausted and marooned on a foreign land. Gulliver was a surgeon and had been on many voyages even earlier. Would you like to know what happens with Gulliver on this voyage? Then come, Let's read further. Gulliver meets the Lilliputians. I tried to get up from the ground, but I could not move. I was lying on my back. Then I found that my arms and feet were held down to the ground with strings. My hair, which was long, was held down in the same way. Thousands of strings had been passed across my body so that I could not move any part of me, but could only lie there on my back, looking up at the sky. In a little time, I felt something alive moving on my foot. Then it came over my body and up to my face. Turning my eyes down as much as I could, I saw a man. He was not half a foot high. By his dress, he seemed to be a soldier. Then there came 40 more, following the first. I was so much surprised that I gave a great cry. Then they all ran back in great fear, and as I was told later, some of them were hurt in jumping down from my side onto the ground. So children, can you see what happened with Gulliver? Gulliver was lying on the floor all exhausted, and when he got up, he saw that his hair was pinned to the floor. There were little strings all over his body that were keeping him on the floor. He could not move even one part of his body. He saw a little man that hopped onto him. This man was not even half a foot tall. He was dressed in a uniform. Then suddenly Gulliver saw more men just like him. Gulliver was surprised and scared. He gave out a loud cry. All these men ran away out of fear. Gulliver attempts to pull free. After pulling very hard, I got one arm up from the ground. I also raised my head. This gave me great pain, for many of the hairs were pulled out. I put out my hand to catch some of the little men, but they ran away before I could close my hand on them. Then I heard a noise and felt a pricking in my hand, like that of 1,000 needles. I found that they were shooting arrows at me. I was afraid for my eyes. I put my hand over my face. After this, I thought that the wisest thing to do was to lie quiet till night. I thought that then, my hand being free, I could quickly set free the rest of my body. Soon a platform was raised, and an important-looking man, gave a long speech. From his gestures, I guessed that he was trying to tell me that they would not harm me if I did as they told. I too replied with gestures that I would remain quiet. I also told them that I was hungry. So what happens next? Gulliver tries to free himself. He is able to free one of his arms and he raises his head. But the little men make a noise. Gulliver hears this noise and after that he feels little pricks all over his hand. These little men started shooting arrows at Gulliver. Gulliver realized that his only way out was to stay quiet and stay still till night. At night, he could then free himself with his one arm that he had already set free. Then, after a while, a platform was raised and an important-looking man came and made an announcement. Gulliver thought the man is trying to tell him something. He felt the man is trying to tell him that if he stays quiet, they will not hurt him. Gulliver also with gestures explained to the man that he will not do anything now, he will not move. But he was hungry and wanted something to eat. Gulliver eats a giant meal. At once, 100 men climbed up onto my body and marched up to my mouth, carrying food. The bread was all small as bullets. So, I ate 2 or 3 loaves at a time, and cries of surprise rose from the Lilliputians that I should eat so quickly and so much. The Lilliputians were no longer afraid of me. They danced upon my body and ran to and fro. I could have caught at least 40 of them with my hands and thrown them down. But I remembered my promise to remain quiet. Indeed, I was surprised at their bravery, for I must have seemed the greatest giant in the world. Later, I was taken to the city where the king lived. A great cart was made by joining many carts. 900 men worked for 3 hours to put me onto the cart, which was drawn by 1,500 of the king's finest horses. The city was just half a mile away, but the journey took almost a full day. Gulliver eats a giant meal. Gulliver told these men that he was very hungry. So they all brought carts and carts of bread. They hopped onto his chest and helped him eat loaves of bread. At one time, Gulliver ate 2 to 3 loaves of bread. The little men were surprised at how much Gulliver could eat. But they were at ease with Gulliver now. They danced all over his body. Gulliver was also surprised at the bravery of these little men. Gulliver was a giant in front of them. He could hold 40 of these men together in both his hands. Later in the day, Gulliver was taken to the city where the Lilliputians' king lived. Many carts were joined together to make one cart for Gulliver. 900 men worked tirelessly for 3 hours to put Gulliver onto that cart. This cart was then drawn by 1,500 of the king's finest horses. The city was only half a mile away, but it took almost a day to reach the city. Gulliver's new home. Children, did you enjoy listening to the adventures of Gulliver? I hope you did. The Lilliputians were very scared of Gulliver at first because he looked like a big giant. That is why they tied him down to the ground. Gulliver was also scared of the little men because they were shooting arrows at him. But when both of them spoke with each other and arrived at a mutual understanding, the little men fed Gulliver, took care of him, and Gulliver also patiently worked with them. The king met with Gulliver and made arrangements for his stay and also for him to visit and see the city. Gulliver had his set of adventures with the people of Lilliput, and the people of Lilliput were also very happy to host Gulliver. Children, I hope you enjoyed this lovely story. Children, let's do an activity now. We will learn about adverbs. Adverbs are words that help describe a verb, an action. Let me give you one example. The tortoise walks slowly. In this sentence, what is the action? Walks is the action. It is the verb. Which word helps you understand the action better? Or which word describes the action better? Yes, the word slowly describes the action of walking. That is why the word slowly is the adverb. So children, like this, you will see sentences on your screen with blanks. The blanks are for you to add adverbs. You will also get a bank of words with adverbs. You need to write the appropriate adverb in the blank. Would you like to give it a try? Then come, let's begin. Children, I hope you were able to write the appropriate adverbs in the blanks. Come, let's have a look at the answers. I run very fast. She speaks softly. They walk quickly to catch the train. John answered the question correctly. The boys worked hard. Children, I hope you were able to get these answers right. If you observe, a lot of the adverbs end with the letters ly, like softly, quickly, and correctly. But it is not necessary that every adverb ends with ly. For example, fast and hard are also adverbs, but they don't end with ly. Children, I hope you all enjoyed today's session. I request you all to please make some time and share Gulliver's story that we read today with your friends and family members. Children, till we meet next time, please take care, bye-bye and stay safe.